Okay, very good. Good evening, Creswell. My name is Mayor Zetterball, and I would like to call the meeting to order for the Creswell City Council meeting for virtual telephonic meeting for September 14th, 2020. We have a guest tonight. We have representing East Lane County Commission, and also Lane County Commission Chair Heather Buck is joining us for our meeting tonight. So I am going to do it. The first call on the agenda is roll call by name. Councilor Castillo, are you present?
Councilor Castillo, present.
Councilor Drago?
Councilor Drago, present.
Councilor Inman? Councilor Inman, are you there?
Yes, Councilor Inman,
okay,
present.
Very good. Okay, Councilor President Knudsen.
Councilor Knudsen, present.
Councilor McReynolds.
Councilor McReynolds, present.
Councilor Prochu.
Councilor Prochu is present.
Okay, and Mayor Zetterball is present. We have a full house tonight. Thank you very much for your dedication and service to our community. Roberta, do we have any public comments at all at this point?
I do not.
Okay, very well. That'll move us to item 3, which is the mayor's report. First item on the mayor's report is the vacancies on the pending commissioner report. So at this point, the only one that we have is going to be a vacancy on the airport commission, as I have been informed. Other than that, everybody that is currently serving has resubmitted applications and is going to continue their service to Creswell. And I really want to thank everyone that volunteers for Creswell and our committees. Our city cannot survive without you, so I greatly appreciate that. Okay, we have 2 proclamations tonight. We have one is the National Preparedness Month proclamation, so I'm just going to go ahead and read through these. Proclamation from the City of Creswell. Whereas each September is recognized as National Preparedness Month, and whereas Creswell citizens have witnessed and experienced natural disasters in our own community, and whereas every family and business in Creswell is encouraged to take advantage and make active steps to be financially secure after a disaster, and whereas every community member is encouraged to make sure that they are properly insured against fire, flood, earthquake, and storms, and whereas every person needs to assemble sufficient food, water, first aid, medical supplies, pet supplies, and emergency tools so that they will be able to take care of themselves for at least 7 days, 168 hours, and whereas every community member is encouraged to create a home inventory to include as part of their disaster preparedness kit. Now, therefore, I, Richard Zetterball, Mayor of the City of Creswell, do hereby declare the month of September as Preparedness Month in the City of Creswell, and I encourage all Creswellians to take measures that they need to assure that they are and their families and pets will be able to be self-sufficient in the event of a disaster. The second proclamation is in regards to National Night Out, and again, I will just go ahead and read through. I want to apologize first, folks. I'm going to do the best that I can considering the smoky situation. I've got COPD, so my voice may fail, and if that happens, I will be relying on our council president to pick up. The City of Creswell, a proclamation whereas the 37th Annual National Night Out provides a unique opportunity for Creswell to join forces with thousands of other communities across the country, in promoting cooperative police activity, crime prevention efforts, and whereas it is essential for all citizens of Creswell to be aware of the importance of crime prevention programs and the impact that their participation can have in reducing crime, illegal drugs, and violence in Creswell. And whereas Lane County Sheriff Office Creswell deputies provide crime, illegal drug, and violence prevention in the City of Creswell is supporting National Night Out locally. And whereas police community partnerships Neighborhood safety, awareness, and cooperation are important themes of National Night Out program. Now, therefore, I, Richard Zettervall, Mayor of the City of Cresswell, do proclaim October 6, 2020 as National Night Out in the City of Cresswell, and I encourage all Cresswellians to recognize the contributions that they make to the safety of our community. Okay, the next item on our agenda is our correspondence. And councilors, I'm assuming you've read through these, and are there any comments or questions in regards to these? All right, seeing none, we will go ahead and move forward with our consent calendar. All items in the consent calendar considered routine and will be enacted by one motion in the form listed below. There will be no separate discussions on these items unless a councilor would like to have an item pulled at that request, and we'll discuss that item separately and consider that separately. Now, councilors, are there any discussions or any items that would like to be pulled? If not, I'm entertaining a motion, please.
I'm sorry,
No.
I have
think-
a small change to the minutes.
Oh, okay.
I was
Okay.
muted, sorry. So yes, just a small change to the minutes for the August 10th council meeting. Page 8 of our council packet, or page 2 of the minutes, depending on what you're looking at. The reference there, as I was thinking, I asked for an update on the transient and homeless population, but the minutes only speak to the transient population. It's very important distinction. I've been making when I asked Sergeant Denham for his update. Those are two separate things. So I'm sure that's noted correctly.
Okay. Councilors, any other additions or amendments to the minutes? If not, I'm going to go ahead and entertain a motion, and it will be as amended. Roberta, did you have a question?
Can I clarify that, please? So you want me to add the word homeless along with transient?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Sorry. I went back to watch the meeting to make sure that that's what I said, and I did. So.
Okay.
Okay, very good. All right, so I'm entertaining a motion as amended.
I'll do it.
Councilor President Knutson.
I move we approve the minutes as amended.
Okay, a motion has been made. Is there any second, please?
Councilor Drake.
Second.
Councilor McReynolds, first to second the motion. Is there any
I'll
further
second that
discussion?
motion.
Is there any further discussion, council?
Are we approving just the minutes or the whole consent calendar?
Amy? I believe
As
that's all
amended
that's-
with the consent calendar as well.
Thank you.
Okay,
I'll
very
second
good.
that motion.
Okay, very well. All right, councilors, any discussion? Okay, seeing none, I will go ahead and call the roll for the vote. Councilor Castilla.
Councilor Castillo votes yes.
Councilor Drago.
Councilor Drago, yes.
Councilor Inman.
Counselor Inman votes yes.
Council President Knutson.
Counselor Knutson, yes.
Councilor McReynolds.
Councilor McReynolds, yes.
Councilor Prochu.
Councilor Prachu votes yes.
Okay. And Mayor Zettervall votes yes, so that is a unanimous vote for approval of the consent calendar. That moves us on to our administrative report, and this one goes to Roberta Tharp.
Thank you, Mary. I sent you a script today to read at the beginning of the meeting. Can we go back and do that maybe?
Oh, is that the one for tonight's meeting?
Yes.
Oh, I thought that was to go right just before we discussed that item. My apology.
Michelle, that's okay. Michelle asked to have it read at the beginning of the meeting.
Oh, okay, very good. All right, so I have that right here, and it says for tonight's meeting, if anybody would like to call into the meeting or provide comment or question to a city employee will be monitoring the phone at City Hall beginning at 6 p.m. Please call 541-895-2531 and leave your name and comment or question. Comments and or questions received will then be relayed to the City Council during the council action item section of our agenda.
Thank you.
My apologies, Roberta. That was my misunderstanding.
So first thing in the administrative report is the bills. Does anybody have any questions on those? Nope. The next one is the Lane County Sheriff's calls for service report. And I think Sergeant Denham's here. Maybe he can weigh in on that.
I'm here.
Did you have anything specific to report, Sergeant Denham?
Yeah, we, based on the discussion that we had with the Public Safety Committee this last week, even though we made the proclamation that National Night Out will be held on October 6th, we determined that with this new institution of not knowing when our fire response is going to lessen as far as our ability. Most of my guys have been covering down on overtime and bouncing around trying to help the main office out. I've been doing the same. We've all been working pretty much for the last week straight with very little time off, and we're just not going to be able to put together what we had hoped to put together by October 6th. So the suggestion to the safety committee was that we go ahead and cancel the formal stuff that we had planned for National Night Out. Still encourage people to gather in their neighborhoods, talk, and then throughout the remainder of this year, we'll work to put together some of those public safety announcements with tips on crime prevention and that kind of thing, and how to keep yourself safe. That we'll be able to periodically release and keep on the city's website throughout the remainder of this year, and shoot for something much larger and much better next year. Hopefully we won't be in this type of a situation with this many things going on next year.
Sergeant, you're breaking up.
What did you miss?
I don't know. Well, I heard a lot of garble, so it was hard to understand.
Okay, much better.
Not really.
Just the last part about
Just, yeah, last part.
next year.
Let me try again. So we'll try again for next year to have something much bigger when hopefully the same things are not going on.
Okay, that's much clearer. Thank you very much.
The fires kind of put the cherry on the top of an already difficult year. So.
Yeah, I can only imagine the amount of time that you guys are dedicating to the emergency response needed to our east, and wherever you may fail in regards to that. So it is a great dedication to your service and our service, your service to our country and our communities. Council, any questions for Sergeant Denham?
I have.
Amy, go ahead, Councilor Knudsen.
Is there a way that maybe Kevin can share some information about the what do you guys call it? The neighborhood watch that you guys have been trying to get off, like as part of the message for preparedness and safety, and if there's any information that Kevin wants to share, because I know he's been working on that for a while now. So maybe that's an opportunity to share some information with our public and our citizens.
Yes, I think Sergeant Denham and I have spoken a little bit online, just that maybe it'd be nice if we can supplement throughout the rest of the year before the next night out with some other preparedness type tips and things on Facebook, and also some videos. Got my green screen going behind here, so we might be able to produce a few things that we can share out to the community. Maybe at least some way that we can kind of keep the ball rolling with that. By not having a night out.
Okay, very good. Councilors, any questions for Sergeant Denham in regards to the crime and police activity report? Councilor Inman, go ahead.
Yes, so I noticed on your police activity that there was a big boost in the public order. Is that kind of like last month with just folks being home?
Yes, that's a whole lot of everything is suspicious, and then we had those a lot of those car thefts that we experienced for a short period of time there. There's still a few of those happening. They're not letting it happen. We think we identified it anymore. We can't prove who they are. But once they left town, it seemed to stop. So kind of a good indicator that one of them's going to jail anyway, and will be locked up for quite a while because he's set to go back to prison. But even though we couldn't prove it, we were pretty much convinced that it was them. So now we're kind of doing the whole ticky-tack car test. Other than that, calls for service have been down the last few weeks. Our big things right now are every car that pulls over on the side of the road for the last week has been suspicious to somebody. So that's a lot of what we're dealing with now. So we'll probably continue to see more of the same in that particular category. I mean, as you notice, the calls for service in that category are super high, but there's 2 case numbers that were pulled out of it. So, and those were both disorderly conduct by certain people that live in town. So, lots of time spent with those calls. And there's a lot of people that knock on our door when we're here. But we recently haven't been here very much, so I can't knock on the door. But we're definitely going to see a spike over the next few weeks because people are now thinking that every car that's pulled over on the side of the road is trying to light a fire. So it's I know working overtime in the main office the last few days, that's been a good majority of our calls, and we're chasing all those calls around because there were a couple instances where somebody did actually light a fire. So we're just making sure that we check our blocks and keep checking on everything that people call in, and it's good that people call in. That's okay. If it's 92 and 2. That's all right. It keeps us busy, but it's definitely okay that people are being aware of their surroundings and calling in suspicious things that are happening.
Sure. Thank you.
I have 2 hands that are raised. One is for Councillor McReynolds, and then Councillor Prochu. You will follow, sir.
Thank you, Mayor Zetterlund. Thank you, Sergeant Denham, for responding via Facebook. I know it's maddening, but I'm strangely comforted knowing you're in the loop. From a post I placed the other day. I wonder do you know of any calls resulting from that, reporting any actual threats towards any?
We had a call with concern from one of the parents of one of the organizers of the upcoming, what was planned as an upcoming one, protest. And we assured him that they have all the same protections that everybody else has. And he just wanted us to know that that was out there, that some people knew kind of where that particular organizer lived. And they had been receiving some veiled threats, nothing that they were going to report or anything, but they wanted us to be aware that if there was suspicious activity at the house, we could try to keep an eye on it. So from that organizer's post, they've decided to cancel that event.
Yeah.
Whether or not that word will get around to the other places that it's spread and nobody comes down and comes here to do it, I don't know. We'll still continue to monitor and think towards the same response as we were going to anyway, which is the same one we've had for everybody else, is to monitor what's going on and let everybody peacefully do what they're going to do as long as they follow the rules that say set forth.
I have every confidence in you and your officers. Thank you. And I wish I had as much confidence in general.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay, Councillor Prochu, go ahead, sir, with your question.
Okay, and I'm still getting garbled feedback from Sergeant Denham most of the time, so I'll go ahead and ask my question anyway, which is my traditional, any noticeable changes in the homeless or transient population?
We've had a few people in motorhomes and such that have flowed down into town that we've noticed from the evacuation sites. So we're kind of making contact with those, and we're not gonna push people out of the city. We're just trying to make sure that if they do, there's one currently pulled over in the across from Ball Run, and he's kept his whole area there since he's been there very clean. So we'll continue to monitor those things, and we're not gonna go take somebody who was displaced from the fire as they move along.
I think this is a particular time for us to be a little bit more lenient.
Yep, we're aware of that. We'll take each case as it begins. One of the people that complained recently is a yearly habitual motorhome. Well, it's not even a motorhome, it's a massive motor bus that parks in front of a particular house and stays there for a couple of weeks until somebody complains, and we go and tell them that they need to leave because they're visiting family. They can't park it there and have to abide by the ordinance. But those people know that they're not displaced by anything. They make this a yearly event. So we'll continue to evaluate each thing, each complaint, or each thing we see on a case-by-case basis.
Okay, thank you, Sergeant.
Very good. Any other questions, councilors? Okay, Roberta, I'll turn it back to you.
Okay, the next is the city attorney report. And then the code enforcement report. And lastly, the building permit recap report.
Okay, councilors, any questions for Roberta? All right, thank you, Roberta. I really appreciate that.
Thanks.
All right, so we'll move to item 7 on our agenda, which is the action item for the evening, which is Resolution 2020-23, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Cresswell committing to creating an inclusive, strong, and vibrant community for all ages, abilities, genders, cultures, and ethnicities. So who is the staff report on this one? Is that going to be you, Roberta, then? Normally Michelle would weigh in on this one, but
Well, I know that in January, not January, I'm sorry. I never know what day it is, July. At the work session, a request came through to share a policy of this nature. And the council held a large discussion, and the item was moved forward to the August meeting. At the August meeting, Michelle had drafted a resolution and a draft ordinance and presented those. The council discussed them and amended them, and now they've come back before you tonight.
all right, very well. So councilors, we're going to have a conversation about this, and I first off would like to ask Roberta or whoever's taking the calls, is there any additional calls that have come through or comments that have come through via the phone?
I have had 2.
You have 2?
Yeah.
Would you like to go ahead and read those, Shelley?
Shelley, we can't hear you.
I heard you say there's 2, and that's the last I heard.
It muted me again. Hang on. Okay.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Now we can.
Okay. Jeanette Ride Brink on Augusta Court, Cresswell. I oppose Resolution 2020-23 the way it is written. I think Dave Stram had a lot of good points in his letter. Monica Knight, Augusta Court, Cresswell. I am opposed to the Resolution 2020-23 as worded because it seems to be focused on Oregon's past and not present-day Cresswell.
Okay. And that is it you have for now?
That's all I have for now.
Okay, very well. We will go ahead and take those into consideration, Council, in addition to the multitude of comments and so forth that we have received. So I would like to open this up as a discussion, and what I'm thinking is we have a nice rousing discussion first off, and see, ask questions of each other, that kind of thing. If you have a certain dedication to a particular comment that you would like to refer to, we all have the comments in our packets. And and then after we do all that, then I would like to have the councilors go around. We'll go around the table and we'll kind of see, where council feels. Do we want to move forward? However we want to do this. And then if there's a motion in there, then we will proceed with that motion. So, all right. So I will open the floor for discussion. And what I would like to do is, first off, is if you have a comment or question, to please use the raise your hand feature. That makes it, I think, easier and more fair for everyone, instead of raising your hand and frantically waving and so forth and trying to get people's attention. So we will go ahead and start. Martha, I see your hand is raised. Would you like to begin? No? Okay.
It wasn't, but I would defer to our guest if she would. Ms. Buck would like to say anything. I would ask the mayor to allow you to
Absolutely.
jump in if you wanted. And then Roberta's hand's raised.
Oh, Roberta, go ahead. Let's start with Roberta first.
This afternoon, I sent out a package of email correspondence to all the council. It was the emails that I received after I had put the packet together.
Got him. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, I read those as well. Okay, Ms. Buck, would you like to make a comment, or are you there to observe more, or I'll leave it up to you.
I'm happy to make a comment, but I am here mostly to just listen in and see how you all are doing with your reports. I did send in a letter of my own in support of your equity resolution. We did do one on the county level a while ago, which I'm guessing you are familiar with. And it is really important to us at the county to move forward on our equity work. It is unanimous across our ward. We have people with all different political affiliations, all different ideas on what equity means to them. And we have all come together and know that this is so very important for the nation, and we know things start local. So on your level, it is really important to the folks in your community that you are able to recognize that we have a lot of work to do on the equity front. And so I'm just really proud of you all for bringing this forward for a discussion, and do hope that you support an equity resolution of some sort. In conclusion, thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thanks, Heather. Really appreciate it. Okay, councilors, who would like to go first? Martha McReynolds.
Thank you. Why not? So I want to thank everyone who chimed in, whether I agree with your political opinion or not. It was a vigorous discussion, and I consider that a big win for us. 10 years ago, we wouldn't have found the words to have this conversation, and it would have been more painful and lasted longer. I'm surprised at the vehemence against the inclusion and equity language, and I see that this is I really take to heart the fact that people are saying this, all of our last good nerve is being worked right now. And these fires are just poking even harder. And I know that I've made a fierce case online, and I want to communicate to folks out there. I'm not hoping to upset anyone. I mean pretty much every word I say. If you knew me, you'd see I'm not as aggressive as maybe my well-spokenness comes off. Women in leadership are scary, and I can own that. But it's not my hope to frighten y'all. I get that this is scary, and I'm going to try to tone stuff down so it's less pokey at y'all. But this conversation is started. My pitch to everyone is that we drop it. I don't see picking up the battle. Folks are just really not ready to have the discussion. I'm surprised by the energy around the nose, but I've gotten a lot of yeses that we got as a group that have privately come to me in the the Facebook threads, even though there were some rough comments, there were also some supportive ones that I will point out. The folks that think that 100% of Cresswell thinks anything are wrong. There's no 100% anywhere. There are people that believe inclusion doesn't cost them. But I respect the fact that in 4 months, 3.5 months, we're going to have a new mayor and a new lineup of councilors. And I think it's okay to table it now and plan for the future. That said, this is not a loss. The conversation's begun, and it's sort of, people are meeting each other in Cresswell that have similar feelings on both sides of the argument. And it's coalescing some folks that are part of what I consider to be our quiet, reasonable majority. We have a loud minority, and we have folks that want to talk a little rough. But in general, Cresswell is a decent place. This isn't about anyone individually. This is an institutional issue. I'm proud of us. I think that this is a very important baby step today, and I think we can drop it and consider it a win and hope that we pick it back up. I appreciate everybody's support that was open to it, and hopefully we can reapproach this soon. I want to add, for the folks that are taking this personally, I'm very sorry for y'all that you might be, but that's kind of a sign that we need to have this conversation. Additionally, we have, some of our social service boards have been notified that until we are able to get a little more diversity on our boards, grant funding is not going to be as easy to get for Cresswell. We're not going to get support from the outside world unless we acknowledge some of its metrics, which includes a vocal stance towards inclusion and making a flat playing field for everybody. We have a hierarchical world. There are winners and there are losers. And right now there are people that feel like losers that want the conversation to be about them, and they want some of us to advocate for them. That doesn't scare me, and it doesn't take anything away from me to have that conversation, because the advocacy we do for the least of us is going to come around and help the world be safer for all of us. So there. Thank you very much for letting me have my moment. And I love Cresswell. This is a very good and decent place. And I grew up not agreeing politically with most of the folks I know today. And that didn't get in the way of love or service or an amazing community. And I'd get in front of a tank for people that I know are voting on the opposite side of the ticket from me. And I kind of think they would get in the front of the tank, of a tank for me too. It's not about people individually. This is about institutionalized unfairness. And I'm okay to have that conversation. So that started. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Martha. Would you go ahead and unclick your raise hand if you would, please?
It's not clicked. I'll mess with it. It's not.
Oh, interesting. Okay, there it went. You got it. And it's off right now. Okay, counselors, who would like to go next? Councilor Castilla.
Sure, I'll go. We started this conversation in July, I believe, and I'm going off of the minutes. I hope that's okay. I just wanted to, some of the things that struck out at me that we considered and were talked about was that we felt that this resolution, we needed to set an example, and it needed to be the right one, and we needed to live by it. And this resolution also needed to be much more than a document, and it needed to be done correctly. That was just some of our input. And I like what Michelle had said, that we need to thoughtfully determine what will make a meaningful contribution to our city's future and all of its citizens. We need to have open dialogue with our community, which I think we're the ball is barely rolling on that discussion. And then on the August 24th, that was the meeting that I missed for personal reasons. I watched the video, the YouTube video, and something that struck out to me that Mr. I'm going to butcher his name, Zaidi, he said he expressed his desire to see the resolution go forward as a statement of intent and a statement of where the council's hearts are. He feels the draft ordinance needs some further work. He recommended that what is contained in the ordinance be an expression of the values of this community and nothing contentious. I don't think we are heeding his advice as of now. I believe that there is a lot of good in this resolution, and our intentions are right on. However, some of the document I don't agree with. I think, and speaking with people in town and reviewing these emails, I kind of feel, and I can be empathetic to how they're feeling. They kind of, and I get the sense when I first read this, is we're kind of clumping a bunch of very good people and kind of throwing them under the bus. And I don't think they deserve that. And at the same time, and I am not downplaying bigotry in this community. It does exist. It exists everywhere we live. And I'm all for equity and inclusion in this community. But I really believe that we need to get it right. And also, I agree with the letter that Roberta read. There's a gentleman you may know by the name of Mr. Stram that spelled out some very good points. It really got me thinking. And I think we all need to sit down and rethink a lot of the points, the questions, and some of the concerns, all the citizens' concerns in this before we can move forward to pass something that is going to make Creswell better than what it already is. Because of right now, the resolution does not speak of the Creswell that I know and love. But I know we can do this. I know we can get it right. And yes, I would like to see this tabled for however long it takes. Right now, people have so much on their plates, and I fear that the timing and the way it is written is just going to cause division, and that's the last thing our community needs right now. And that's all I have to say.
Very good, Councilor Castillo. Thank you very much for your comments. And councilors, who would like to go next? I would like to hear from all councilors, please.
Are we still doing the round robin after this, or is this part of the round robin?
This is part of the round robin. I would like to hear from all councilors, and then at that point, if someone feels strongly enough, then they can make a motion and we will act on it. Okay, go ahead, Kevin.
I had some prepared notes, so I will go ahead and read those because we sometimes reflect my thoughts ahead of time. And anyway, those that were attending the council meeting where we discussed this, and actually the work session, I should say on the 24th, you might recall that in discussing this topic, I actually threw out the suggestion that we might want to take a little bit more time to hear from the public on that. Councilor McReynolds, I remember you agreed to that. And then we had some further discussion and we made the decision to go ahead and move forward with that. And I respect that completely. But little did I know that this was going to be a very contentious topic for the city. So I think I should have trusted my spidey senses on that one. My lessons learned would be that any kind of big ticket item like this needs to have a public participation process that is broader than what we've done in the past. I don't know exactly what that's going to look like. I do have some that time, but this is too big, and this one belongs to the community. So if I were going to be putting a motion on the table right now, that motion might be that we table these two resolutions, but only, and let me make it clear, that we would be doing so that we could allow for more public input and take the
Oops, go on. Okay, councilors, that sounds good. Thank you, Kevin, for your comments. I really appreciate that. And Kevin and Alonzo, if you could wave your hand, that would be wonderful. So we have yet to hear from, from Councilor Inman and Drago and Knudsen. Councilor Drago, go ahead.
Thank you. So I think it's great that we do have an open dialogue with our public, and I think that it's good that they're communicating and telling us what they want. I do feel this issue needs a lot of work, and I think it causes a lot of division in our community. And I think we as counselors should be focusing on uniting our community and not dividing it. I think that this is definitely an issue we shouldn't be dealing with, at least at this time. I think there's some good things in it. I think there's a lot of other bad things in it. And I think it should definitely be more community involvement before any of it, and that it should be tabled.
All right, thank you, Councilor Drago. Councilor Inman, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. So I also want to thank everybody that had put their comments in and let us know their opinions and hear their voice. I also too think that this is a start. However, going through all the comments and then rereading the resolution after seeing all the comments, it really is a start and a draft. And I think something as important as this really needs more time as well as more public input. Thank you.
Okay. Councilor Knudsen, would you like to go now?
I would, thank you. I do take every single email and comment that I have received very seriously. I believe I have responded to every single person, whether they support or oppose this resolution, because I think it's important to recognize everybody's voice, whether they support it or oppose it. I want to hear it all. I want to hear this conversation. I want to have this conversation. I'm sorry that we can't have it in chambers and people are there to talk with us. We can't have open city halls where people can come and discuss this with us in person. It's very, very easy to misconstrue online meetings, public forums that are based off of social media, emails even, are very hard to convey your message and convey what you want to say. And I want to hear it. I do. And I'm surprised. I'm very surprised by the harsh reaction, the polarized views of our community. I am surprised. We have discussed numerous things throughout the 4 years that I've been on council that are very contentious, and we have never received this kind of response. So it does wake me up. It does make me realize this is important to people, and this is a conversation we need to have. And I hope we can find a way to have it. I hope we can, a civilized way, and a non-weird online way. But if that's what we have to do, show up. Show up, people. I'm asking you, please show up and talk to us. We are not robots that just pass things through because that's just the way it is. We do listen, and I think I hear that from every single one of our counselors, and thank you so much for speaking up. And I know we listen, and I know we care, and I know our original intent was honorable and I feel like was needed. Like Commissioner Buck said, this is not something that's new, that's coming down the pipeline. That's not something that cities and counties and states are just making up. This is something that's been coming down for a very long time. And we're finally listening to those people that need to be represented and that want to have voices that don't have voices. And this is not meant to be an attack. This is not meant to be a blame game on who's right and who's wrong. This is just a big statements saying, hey, we're here to listen to you, whoever you may be. And I see that that pushes some buttons with people. And I'm sorry, I'm trying to hear your point of view. I'm trying to understand it. I support this resolution. I see that we could work on it some more. I see that people want to be involved, and I respect that. But I support what we're trying to say. And I hope it goes through someday. Someday, if not tonight, someday. That's all.
Thank you, councilors. It was great hearing all of this from you. I want to echo some of the thoughts that Councilor Knutson just said in that respect, that, you know, this really surprised me to have the number of contentious emails and the hot buttons that it seemed to push. I never would have dreamed that talking about equity for everybody would do that. It's really hard for me to understand. I do respect everyone's opinion, and you know, I'm understanding of that. And I took every single email that was written, read it multiple times, and tried my best to understand your viewpoints. So I too support this resolution, and also the draft of the Equity Commission. The intention of both of those, well, this one personally, is to make a statement of where the city stands, that we have to embrace equity. Not just on a personal level, but on a institutional level. Because we have to hire, we have to do everything with affirmative action plans, and all of that involves equity. Every single thing that we do. So, for me, that's difficult. But I respect people's opinions. So, I hope that this continues forward. I hope that we can continue this conversation. I hope that the future council and mayor will be able to move the dial and get this to work for our future. So that's my feelings, and I will open the floor to further discussion and or a motion. Councilor McReynolds?
Thank you, Mayor Zetterval, and thank you for your heartfelt comments. And thank you, everyone, fellow councilors. I'm going to make the motion in a moment, but before I do, I want to end the discussion, if I'm the last word, with it. This is a win for everybody. Everybody got heard, I feel. And the fact that we're dropping this right now it's a win. We didn't choose a battle. We didn't choose to cause each other more trauma at a time where our heart wasn't in it. And this is still motion forward, and it's still a win for everybody. And Cresswell's still a good place. No one's about to say it's not. So I would like to make a motion that we table this resolution and the inclusion discussion at this time.
Okay, a motion has been made. Is there a second?
I'll second, Councilor Drago.
All right, thank you, Councilor Drago. Is there any further discussion? Councilor Prochu?
Well, I just wanted to add one further comment. But the irony isn't lost on me that in the middle of an equity discussion that we found ourselves finding ourselves so divisive, or that this became such a divisive issue. So I really do feel that the parts of the council are in the right place, and that we do intend to do the right thing here, and that doing and enacting, and voting on this resolution tonight is not the end of the discussion. I understand. Thank you.
Okay, any further comments, Counselor? And thank you, Kevin, for that comment, because I feel the same way. And Counselor McReynolds, both of you suggested that this is certainly not the end, but is certainly the beginning. So, okay, we have a motion on the floor with a second, so I will guess Counselor Castillo. You have a comment, sir?
Yes, sir. I just wanted to reiterate as well that this is not dead. This is not going away. I believe that we still have, this is going to pass, and it just means that we have more work to do.
All right, sir. Okay, so we have a motion on the floor with a second. Is there any last comments before we proceed? Okay, seeing none, I will go ahead and call the roll on the vote. Counselor Castillo.
Counselor Castillo votes yes.
Counselor Drago.
Counselor Drago votes yes.
Counselor Inman.
Counselor Inman votes yes.
Counselor President Knudsen.
Counselor Knudsen votes yes.
Counselor Prochu. Counselor Prochu.
Counselor Prochu votes yes.
Okay, Counselor McReynolds.
Counselor McReynolds votes yes.
Mayor Zetterwald votes a very reluctant yes. I would like to implore the new council and the new mayor to follow through with this good work. It is a beginning and hopefully not the end. So good night, Cresswell. This meeting is adjourned.